Hey, welcome back. She catches all the time acting the fool, no.
Because it's always you.
I'll let her run things since she thinks she running something.
Come on with it, bro. Come on with it. Hey, y'all. It's Wednesday again. Came quick. That means the weekend is on the.
It
It
is.
is. All the time. That means the weekend is right around the corner. But it's Wednesday. It's time for some real talk with K.
What's going on, Lisa?
Time for some real talk with K and J. I am your girl K, aka Kat.
I am always it is, as she
Always
says,
it is.
Jay, aka the dog, and we are in the building. I'm happy to be back. Um, and you gonna start today?
Come on, bro, you with it.
And we're going to lead off this topic with present past experiences, present accomplishments. Please like, click, and share and join in if you feel so inclined to get on the camera. We can put you on the screen. So, topics have this conversation is today's Wednesday. I think every day has been a topic around what happens when you're in relationships and those relationships fail. Do you become bitter? Do you blame the other person? Or do you take some moment out of that time to kind of process yourself? My classmate said, hi. All right.
Hey.
How to process yourself and understand what did you cause? What role did you play in that failure? This process is very important because it teaches you and helps you prepare for the next time you decide that you want to go out into the dating world or date someone. It is quite human and natural to want to blame or put the shoulder of the blame on the other person in the failed relationship. You know, no, we hardly say, "Hey, y'all, I'm on time. What's up?" I'm on time this weekend. It's very hard to look at yourself and say, "Okay, this is fair relationship number two, fair relationship number three, or whatever your number is." The question is, do you take the time to really look at yourself and figure out what role you played in the failure of your relationship versus the easier process, which is to just blame everything on the other person, right? You know, he didn't do what he wasn't giving me, or what's that old stupid stuff? He wasn't giving me what he's supposed to give. You don't know what he's supposed to give. When do you take time to kind of look back at yourself and realize that maybe, just maybe, I had some kind of responsibility or role in why things did not happen, or why sometimes, you know, things don't work. And, you know, there could be times where it's neither you nor the person's fault. But we really wanted to drive home the fact that your past experiences, those that have failed, those that went a long way, those who meant something, those experiences that meant something to you, there's something to learn from those experiences.
And it, like you said, it's always easier to put the blame on somebody else. That's not only in a relationship, that's anything that doesn't go right. It's always somebody else's fault. And it's easier to blame somebody else. But it comes a point in time where sometimes you are the common denominator of the failures. You are the common denominator of the things that aren't going as you expect, you plan, you wish, you hope. Sometimes, like I said, it's one of those things where you have to step back, take a look in the mirror, talk to yourself, ask yourself questions. It's easy to say they didn't do, they didn't give, they didn't. But what did you or did you not do to contribute to that? And even me, like I said, in my past relationship, I've spoke about it, over the time, even with the domestic violence, I had to admit that I overlooked things, that I let things go. I had to admit to myself that I not the physical and all that crazy, but there were some things that I had to admit to myself that were my fault. And that's hard, but it's those experiences, it's those lessons that I learned from those things, it's those lessons that I learned from being honest with myself that I was willing to accept, willing to do all of that for, to set myself up for the next, which I promised myself would be nothing like the last. So it was in that, the experience, in the lessons that I learned, in the things that I went through that have definitely led to us being in the place that we are. Us being best friends, us being able to have the conversations that we need to have to keep us moving forward. Are things perfect? We all know that that's not even realistic to have that as an idea. But those things that I learned in the past, and those things that I learned from the failures, from my failures in past relationships, from my, understanding what they did do or what they didn't do, and being responsible for what I did and what I didn't do, those are the things that contribute to us. Those are the things that contribute to me being able to tell him when we first started dating, like, okay, babe, if this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do. I won't tolerate this, this, and this, but I'm willing to give you this. I'm willing to compromise on this. The things that I'm willing to compromise on.
It was so cute.
The things that I'm willing to accept, compromise on, be more understanding, be more forgiving, be more of all of those things, that rather than automatically being defensive about everything. Past experiences will definitely lead to you being bitter if you don't opt to make yourself better. The only difference between bitter and better is the I and the E. I chose to make myself bitter rather than better. I chose to allow those things, those past experiences, to not allow myself to move forward into better because of I. We know there's no, I can mess up a whole lot of things. There's no I in team, but we know some people try to be the whole team because they want that I. So there's the only difference between better and bitter is I, and it's a choice. Yes, it hurt like hell. Yes, I was mad as hell. Yes, I was all of those things. But at some point in time, do you continue to sit in that, or do you choose to do something about that that will set yourself up for a different outcome? The things that you learn, the lessons that you learn from your past experiences, they should lead you to a different outcome. And if they don't, then that means there's some work to be done. There's some responsibility to be taken. There's some accountability to be taken on your part. That other person, they gone on with their life, doing whatever it is they want to do. They probably not thinking about you, probably not thinking about what they did, probably not thinking about none of the stuff that you're sitting there mad, angry, and bitter about. Use that to make you better. Use that so that your future will be better than your past was.
And I think, you, as people say, they had to get water, and some people have to, we talk about the peanut gallery a lot when we say people are always chiming in, and they're always urging you to do stuff that sometimes just brings them entertainment. The only difference between bitter and better is the I. Say what they preach. We have to get to a point where the people that are in our circle or adjacent to our circle don't influence our behavior, right? The people in your circle or adjacent to your circle, those that are not quite in your inner circle, they should not be able to influence you to do things that create drama, that create more issue in your life, right? The comment that starts out, girl, if that was me, okay. When you start to get that kind of feedback, that does good in the progression. That does good in the I, because that person is telling you what I would do, and I don't know that they would really do it, but they want you to do it. So then we turn around and we have a spectacle at that point, and we have not focused on how we're going to make our relationship or our journey the next time better. All people don't come out of fair relationships ready to move forward, right? Some people need time. Progress must progress, right? Same words, different tense, right? Progress must progress. You have to consciously get better. And you can't get better blaming everybody else. The way to get better is to look at yourself and realize what you did or did not do. Right? We've all these series we've had. Women, I still say it. Sometimes you talk too much when you meet that dude. Sometimes you flap your gums too much. You tell them everything that they need to know about what they need to do, about what they need to say, so they can get you in the bed. And then when that happens, he walks out. Sometimes you speak less and listen more. Speak less and listen more. Sometimes you have to watch and you have to observe. And when the relationship is over with, sometimes you have to say, okay, what didn't I get? Why didn't this happen? What was it that I did not like? So that moving forward into the next relationship, those are the red flags that you're already looking for.
You're aware of them.
You're aware of those. Oh, if this is going down the same road, boop, boop, on to Mexico, you got to go. But we have to make improvements. She said, yeah. We have to make improvement. You have to improve yourself first. You know, if you can't improve yourself, then you're undoubtedly doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And now we on body count number 52 because we can't stop counting bodies because we don't figure out how we're going to stop counting bodies, right?
It's
a personal experiences coming out of a marriage, a failed marriage, where on the outside everything was there, but when you don't have the communication, you don't have the time to talk, you don't have the partnership, you don't have the time to come home and who's cooking dinner and who has dinner and who's doing what. Those conversations are necessary, right? When you don't have those conversations and the conversation says, well, somebody had to do it before I did it, then what does that really mean? Right? It didn't look like you was doing it, so I went on did it myself. Or the famous one, what you don't do, I can get somebody else to do it. Guys can tell when women are desperate. Well, a lot of times, yes, in women, you kind of show us that you're desperate because you're kind of full of energy, you're kind of full core press. You want to do all of this stuff.
Jump into being a wife on the second.
You jumped in. Yeah, you jumped in. You went from a date to a girlfriend to the wife. So we know kind of what time it is. And we have already said in our mind, we know, hey, Sharon, we already know what it looks like. We already know what it feels like because we've had experiences at it before. So as men, we use those experiences to say, okay, I got her right where I need her. She's so hungry, she's so thirsty for a relationship until she just jumped right in, all 10 toes. That's when we start asking for money. That's when we start getting you to cook dinner and take us out to dinner and all of the things that are kind of opposite of what should be happening.
Yeah.
While I drink some apple juice.
Apple juice break. Hey, I was like, what's that? Hey, boo.
Shouts out to the new cup full of apple juice.
But it is those life's experiences are our greatest teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And when we don't learn the lesson, we keep repeating the same thing that causes us to have more experiences. Most of them probably are bad, that we always say that, this is it, I'm done. And like I've said before, until sometimes you get sick and tired of your own self, you'll never change anything. You can keep going out you can go on 100 dates. You can get 100 body counts. You can do whatever, but that is not fulfilling the desire that you have for yourself, or the plan for your life, or the thing that you said you wanted. Until you get sick and tired of your own behavior sometimes, until you get sick and tired of the things that you keep repeating, until you get sick and tired of yourself, you keep doing the same thing. Your experiences will keep adding up, and they won't lead you in the direction that you had hoped that your life would be on at this time. It's like you keep doing the same thing over and over. You have to go through the experience, learn the lesson, put in the work to change who you are, so that the next experience won't be the same. It may be an experience, just don't let it be the same experience. If you keep, what's the definition of
insanity?
Keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different outcome. Sometimes that happens. It looks a little different, but it's the same. You know, we can add a little. Okay, this time it wasn't, but it's the same. Keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting something different is called insanity. And until you get to the point where you say to yourself, like I had to say to myself, I'm done, I'm tired, I'm sick of me. You can get tired of your own self, because you the one make the decisions to keep doing the same thing over and over. You the one to keep making the decisions or putting out in the universe, attracting what it is that you're attracting. Change all of that. Speak differently. Check your circle. Maybe you need some new friends. Maybe you need to cut off some people, like we've been saying for a whole year and a half. We are still holding on to people who won't let you move on, and you won't move on as long as you're still holding on to those people. It's okay to say, hey, over there. It's okay to go out and have a drink every now and then. But when it comes to the core of what you want, the core of who you are as a person, the core of the decisions that are going to shape your life, sometimes you just got to let them go. You got to walk away. And you be okay with them feeling however they feel about you walking away, about you deciding that, okay, my past is shady, is shaky. It don't look like what I want my future to look like. So what do you have to do? What do you have to do with all that stuff that you've been through? All that stuff that you, like I said, you can either be better or you can be bitter. If you holding on to it in a negative fashion, you definitely gonna be bitter. You're going to use all of that, and it's going to show up in your next relationship. It's going to show up in your next friendship. It's going to show up in the next whoever is coming around you. It's going to show up. It's just going to show up. You're going to have this aura about you. Some people, you automatically know they negative as soon as you enter their presence or they enter your presence. It comes out. It comes out. And if you hold on to all of that stuff and don't learn the lesson, don't get healed, don't take the time to let it all go and say to yourself, I'm done. I did it. I experienced it. Now it's time for better. You will sit there bitter. You will be angry. You will be angry. You will be hurt. You will be alone. You will be lonely. You will be all of those things if you don't use those experiences. Use the bad experiences to propel you into something different. If it was a bad experience, I don't want that again. I don't want to feel how I felt. I don't want to cry like I cried. I don't want to do that again. So what do? I need to figure out what happened in this. I need to take a responsibility for what it is that I did do or what I didn't do, whatever made it go left, right, whatever. I need to accept that. And then I need to figure out what I need to do with that in order for that to move me forward versus sitting there holding on to it, or don't deal with it all, which is what a lot of us do. We don't deal with it at all. We just move on to the next. Whatever that failed, that whatever. We don't deal with that. We just move right on to the next. Body counts keep adding up. We just move right on to the next. Don't deal with it. Just keep pushing it down. Keep pushing it down. And eventually you ain't gonna have nowhere to push. It's gonna all come out. And then, like I said, that's where the person that could be your soulmate, the person that could be your whatever, they're there, but you're hurt. You're hurt. They can't deal with you in your hurt. You shouldn't deal with you having all of that negativity, all that bitterness, all that anger. You haven't learned anything. So guess what? You about to repeat it again because you haven't learned. And until you do, your future looks a little blurry. It looks a little, I can't figure it out. Why I can't find nobody. Why I can't. There's some things there's sometimes it's just some things that you need to deal with. And until you do,
there's you're just repeating a cycle. You know, it, I think I saw a comment that said I was doing fine till I got stranded and I made a call. You needed help. I get it. So now that we've learned, what have we learned from that? We should have learned that AAA has a subscription, roadside assistance has a subscription. Sometimes things happen and they just kind of wake us up to things that we really didn't pay any attention to. When you're in those moments, and don't get me wrong, there are moments when you're in a relationship and you feel like something's not right. Why are we ignoring that? Why are we not asking questions? Why are we not figuring out what we can do and what we can't do? Why are we not figuring out, okay, let's figure out why I feel the way that I feel. Ladies, it's what they call the woman's intuition. It's kind of funny that the woman's intuition is with the woman, but sometimes the women end up being for everybody, or for the city, as they say. They're for the city because we're not using our intuition. We're using another kind of shun. We're following our inhibition and not our intuition because we're not focused on a long-term relationship or a commitment or something that's lasting. We're in it for the 15 minutes, the 20 minutes of fame, the 2 or 3 months we get. That's what we're looking for. And if that's what you're looking for, then this conversation does not mean anything to you at this point. Because what we're talking about is longevity. We're talking about creating a union, a bond, something that is important, something that provides you that support, that physical, emotional, spiritual support. As you do this, you have to reflect on what happened. And in your reflection, ladies and men, there should be a point where you start to see a pattern of why you don't date these men anymore. Every man should be different, but there are going to be some things that you're going to say, yep, he did that. And I didn't like that with Ray. And then old Charles did the same thing. Whatever that is, that needs to be first and foremost in your red flag list. Some people are afraid to grow from that place.
They are.
People are afraid to grow from that place. But those people who are afraid to grow from that place also are the ones that say, I can't find a man. I can't find a woman. There's nobody out there. Ain't no good ones out there. Well, let's make sure you're good. I know somebody out there rolled their eyes when I said that. Let's make sure you're good. Let's make sure you've done all of the soul searching and internalizing and all of the things that you needed to do so that you can be good. Make sure that you're good. And good doesn't mean that you're 100%. Good just means you're better than the last time you were in a relationship. Hey, what's up, Tasha? Make sure you're good. Nobody can take care of you but you. And if you are unattractive to your damn self, why do you think a man wants to be attracted or a woman wants to be attracted to? Women, what y'all say? Oh, he's a mess. He's just a hot mess. You know why he's a hot mess? He's a hot mess because he ain't taking time to get himself together. Why you use terms? Why do men use terms with women like, oh, she a raggedy old, you know what, whatever those words are that come after that. Why? What we're saying is your stuff is not together. Your stuff is not together. The pride that you show in yourself is what attracts a man to want to call and knock on your door and ask for them digits. Being busted and disgusted and riding around in the hoopty with no hubcaps does not attract anybody but people who ride around in the hoopty with no hubcap. You got to get to a point to where you are the part and that you are okay. And the biggest piece is you're okay with change.
Wait, what? With what? With what?
Go that little part.
With change. Ooh, that's scary for some people. And change.
Change. Not the coins in your pocket, but change. You have to realize that there's some things about me that I may have to change. There's some things that I may have to change. The way I present myself when I go out may need to change. Ladies, every outfit ain't for everybody. Every outfit ain't for everybody. Ladies, you comfortable with your curves. You comfortable with who you are. Present yourself in a womanly fashion, please. Men, there comes a time when we stop wearing gray warm-up. There comes a time when we stop showing our boxers or half our booty cheeks. You know, there comes a time, men. Oh Lord, I got some of them good times. There comes a time, man, when it's time. Troy said, that right? Man, there comes a time, man, when you got to let them braids go and start back here. You know, I'm yet holding on to my snow cap, but eventually I know that my snow cap is gonna have to go. Sometimes you just got to be okay with change.
And it has to start, it should start with self. Change definitely has to start for self. We always hear people say, I ain't changing for nobody. I'm not nobody. If I feel the need that some changes need to take place, I'm doing it for me. And like I said, I ain't changing for nobody. I'm somebody. And there comes a point in time where change is necessary.
Okay.
Yes, Lord. Change is necessary. There comes a time when it's time to let some things go, incorporate some other things, try some different things, go some different places, do some different things. There are our past experiences. There are some things that those should have taught us, like, okay, that's not for me. What I need to find what's for me. I need to find my place in this, that, and the other. Change. It starts with self. It's not necessary. Like I said, we are, women, we always say, the gym is our first thing. Losing weight, all this, that's just
the New Year's resolution.
That's always our thing. But that should be a change for self. That's definitely personal. That's definitely not for anybody else. But in that comes growth. In that comes a better me. In that becomes so much more than just losing a little weight. In that, it boosts so many different things for me. But when you have somebody who supports you in those things,
support.
Yeah, when you have somebody who is willing to support you in your changes, and you should be comfortable enough to have a conversation about change. Baby, you know what? I think I want them. Baby, you know what? I think I'm ready to. Baby, you know what? And to have somebody to say, you know what? If that's what you want to do, 100% go for it, do it. Conquer that. Master that. Do that. It's in those conversations that we have. Prior to a lot of things taking place, there should already have been conversations that have been had. You should be in spaces. Like I said, sometimes especially in the dating part, in the early parts of dating, like I said, sometimes we can tell too much personal stuff, but we don't have the conversations to figure out if this is a person that I can tell something personal to and then not have to worry about it. And I know that they're going to be there. We reveal too much. We give them just enough, like I said, to stay around a month or two, if that's how long it takes them to get what it is that they really want. We've told them everything about us. They just feed on that. And we've ignored that. I told him all this stuff. He ain't figured out nothing. He hasn't done anything to learn anything about me. He didn't have to do anything. I gave it all to him in the beginning. Like I said, I went from one date to a girlfriend to doing wife stuff. In a matter of a week or two, I'm already ready to meet his mama. I've given him everything he needs just to, hang on long enough. If I'm strong enough to hold out a month, if I'm strong enough to hold out, 2 months, but if I've given him everything that he needs, then he can pour it on heavy enough where I'm probably going to give in a couple of weeks. He's got what he wants, and I gave it to him. It's those things when that doesn't work out for you. Once he gets what he wants, and they're gone, it's those things that you learn from. You take it, you rewind that, like, okay, what did I do? How did this happen? Or how did this happen again? How did I let them just in a week, in 2 weeks, I'm already ready to get him a key to my house? How did that happen? But you go on the next date. However long, you mad at him. He ain't shit. You mad at him. Okay, you don't get over it. You just move on. Like I said, sometimes we don't get over stuff. We don't heal from stuff. We don't even learn from stuff. We just move on.
You know what we do? We block them on Facebook and we block them on the number. That's it. We block them on Facebook. Block them on
Facebook, on Instagram, on Snapchat.
That's a punishment.
It is. You block them and you move on.
You said that's a punishment. That ain't no punishment.
They don't care. They got what they want.
No, that's not a punishment. Ladies, that is not a punishment.
Why does it matter? They got what they want.
Put people on block because I done got your cookie and I'm gone. Do I care about you put me on a block on a damn social media site? That does not bother me. That's just one less face I gotta see on my site. Sometimes we react out of anger. We react quickly. But when this becomes your everyday process, and this becomes your everyday, I'm not gonna say process, let me use a bigger word. When this becomes your everyday dysfunction, when you are functionally dysfunctional. Come on now. Come on, Ms. B, work with me. Functionally dysfunction. That means in here, you've convinced yourself that your erratic, sporadic behavior is okay for the world. And you wonder why you don't have anything. You wonder why there's no gentleman caller, there's no nice one. You wonder why you don't have a boo or a bae, or you can't keep a boo or a bae. You have to understand, just because you decided not to change, but to fix something so that you feel better, doesn't always mean it's right. Because putting somebody on block on social media does not solve the problem. It just pushes it to the back. But sooner or later, you're going to run into that person. Sooner or later, you're going to answer the phone. Sooner or later, you're going to put them back on block. I'm going to look at it to see what he's doing tonight. Then I'm going to put it back on block. What's that? What they call it? Lurking? Stalking? Once they get over being mad. So we have been what, Rita, my best friend White? We have been functionally dysfunctional. I showed him something, girl. I blocked him immediately. You ain't showed me Jack. Showed. SHOW''D. Showed. We gotta get somewhere, people. And you do. I have some lady friends and some co-workers that believe that when you block somebody,
you showed it.
You showed them something. Because you blocked them on Facebook, you meant what you said. And then 2 weeks later, it come out your mouth that you went to dinner with them over the weekend. Well, what happened to the block? Oh, it was temporary.
You went back to see what they were
doing.
We
was recycling. Learn who you are. Learn who you are. And learn to verbalize what you are and what you are not going to accept. Your past experiences should put you in a place to tell you what you are and are not going to accept. Case in point, give you an example. 2013, 14. When we decided that we was going to move this thing, you know I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. We're going to move this thing forward. See that, I can tell that, I was straddling the fence. This is a 12-hour relationship. This is long distance. She trying to sew me up from 12 hours away. I was kind of playing double dutch. When double dutch going and that rope going and you trying to get in and I was double dutch. So then there was an ultimatum made. The ultimatum was either I get in here and jump this rope or I stay out. Now, I'm a little special, so I picked up the phone and called her and said, okay, if this is what we're going to do, let me tell you what I'm not going to deal with. I'm not going to deal with the huffing and puffing. I'm not going to deal with the walking around silent. I'm not going to deal with no shape, form, or fashion you telling me go sleep in the other bedroom because you done lost your damn mind. You better draw a line in this California king and stay on your side of the bed. Sometimes you just got to have a conversation. I know you independent, but you wear pants. Or them other things that I like. What you don't wear, men's underwear, aka drawers. You don't wear the drawers. So what we can do is we can figure out how to make this thing look like 50-50, 60-40, 70-30, whatever you want to. But please respect that I am a man and the stuff that I bring into this relationship. Now, there was a moment of silence on the phone. I don't know if anybody had ever talked to her that way. But at some point, I knew my past experiences. So the things that I was telling her were from past experiences and past failures in a relationship. This is the shit right here, chick, that's going to keep me moving, going to keep me pushing. I can look at it from 2 points. I can look at you as the love of my life, but I can be functionally dysfunctional and say, man, I got to spend a lot of money to date her because I got to drive 12 hours. We flying back and forth. Man, we probably spending $800-900 a month on transportation costs. You know what I can do with $800 a month? So sometimes people, you have to take those past experiences and failures. And this is when you be honest. See, this is the point when you tell it all. This is the point when you look at the person and because it's important. How many of you have said after a failed relationship, man, I waste all my damn time and my money. It costs money to be functionally distant. Yes, it does. The moral of this story is good job, Lord. How many of you that are watching now can go back to, if you can even remember that far, because I know we got some couples on here that have been together 20 plus years. If you can remember that far, have we all not said, man, I wasted all the damn time and all my damn money, and this didn't work for, whether she wasn't worth or he wasn't worth, because we did not take our past experiences and apply them to our present accomplishments, meaning we're trying to accomplish what? A union, something great, longevity, love, I don't know what you want to call it, whatever it wasn't worth 2 flies smash.
And it was that conversation, but that conversation definitely ended up, with me saying whatever it is that I needed to say as well. Because
Don't tell me. Don't tell me what you said, Cleveland. Don't tell me what you said.
I was very vocal in the beginning. Like I've told y'all before, that was me with the rah-rah. I was definitely because I'm single, I'm independent, I'm doing my own thing, I'm taking care of me. I'm willing to put this effort into this long distance thing, and if this is what we gonna do, then this is what I need from you. This is what I want. This is what I expect. This is whatever. I was very rah-rah in the beginning, which he was not used to me being that way, because if you know our history, we go way, way back, and that way, way back in the past, girl was very silent. Used to have to make me talk. I wouldn't say nothing. Now it's a whole different story, but I was very, very vocal, and that came from past experiences of being silent, of letting somebody talk to me any kind of way, of letting somebody tell me what it is that I was gonna do, or that. So a lot of that, it came out of my previous relationship of remaining silent in most cases to avoid an argument, remaining silent in most cases, only answering questions, or only having, minimal conversations to avoid an argument, a fight, or whatever. So a lot of that, it came out of that. And in my healing and in my journey to becoming the changed me, was I have to speak up for myself. I have to tell you what it is that I want and I don't want, and what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do, and what I expect for you. So that came out of that. But at the same time, like I said, he was coming out of a bad marriage, and, his journey wasn't quite where mine was. But I was me. I was going to stand up for me. And in that, we had a whole bunch of conversations, a whole bunch of, he hung up on me, a whole bunch of silent moments, we had a bunch of that. But in that, and even like in the beginning of us, those experiences have led us to where we are now, to where we can communicate whatever it is, where we can sit down and have a conversation about whatever it is. Those are accomplishments. When we took those things that in the beginning where we didn't know whether we was going to make it or not, because I'm strong. I knew he was strong from years ago, always been bullheaded, that kind of thing. I knew all of that about him, but it was a changed me because I was quiet, didn't say a whole lot, I was just quiet. And then for him to, re-enter my life, and he like, so you talk and you talk, right? Like, absolutely. It was like, oh, you talk and you talk, right? Right. So like I said, that all of that came out of all the stuff that I went through. Those experiences, I learned my lesson from those things, that I had to stand up for me, that I had to vocalize what it is that I was feeling, what I wasn't feeling, what I was missing, what I needed, all of those things. In the past, I didn't do that because, like I said, I wanted to avoid an argument at all costs. I wanted to avoid the fight at all costs. And most of the time, that was just me being silent. But in my in my journey, and in my learning from, like I said, the things that I did and the things that I didn't do in the past. In that process, I learned that I had a voice and I had it for a reason. And that was for me to say whatever it is that I need, whatever it is that I don't like, whatever it is that I want, whatever it is that I expect. I learned that from an experience. And like I said, that is one of the things that in the beginning, us figuring all that out, us going through that is what has pushed us into the space where we are now, where we can sit and talk, where we can, have a conversation about whatever it is that's going on, whatever it is that we're feeling, whatever it is that we need, whatever it is. Rita know my mom.
Oh shit, if Rita knew. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, late June is in the building.
So it's that where, like I said, now Even before we got married, when we were dating, it was just, expressing the things that we like. I can tell you, how I feel about certain things. I can ask for certain things. I can, those kind of things. But like I said, it comes from learning. Learning from the things that I went through is how we manage, how we do the maintenance on us right now is learning from, like I said, the things that he went through in his past relationship, the things that I went through, and we both, in conversation to figure like, what, baby, I did this wrong and I'm not going to do this. I did this and this got me this, so I'm not going to do that. So this is what I want for us. So this is how we're going to accomplish that. So you have to we sat down and we literally talked about, the past, like, okay, what happened, what made it go left or right. And it's like in that conversation, you figure out like, okay, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
So it's the for strong-willed and strong-minded ladies, there is a place for you. So bump what a lot of the guys say. From a manly man, oh, I love the fact that there's a strong woman here. There is a place for you. How you translate your energy is always the question. The delivery is always the question. Yeah, how did I figure that out? Because I learned that from past relationships. It's not that what you're saying is not valid. In your delivery, though, we can't get to the validity because your delivery is el horrible. It is horrible. So being strong, being strong-willed, being a Libra, it's places for you. You, though, have to understand what your delivery is and what your style is and how you're going to have those conversations. Yelling, kicking, screaming, twisting your neck, clapping your hands, and doing this stuff right here probably is not the way that a gentleman that is really wanting to have a relationship and longevity in one wants to communicate with his lady. Right? That is not how we want to communicate. And I get it because some of us get confused about the person we met because we met him in the club. Or we met him at some house party, or we met him somewhere where they were just hanging out. And the feelings were feelings. And we was in the mood. We was in the vibe. We was in the good time. You had beer goggles on and everybody looks good if you're drinking up beer. We get all of that. But there is still opportunity after that to have meaningful conversations. And where do those topics come from? Where does that substance come from? That comes from past relationships, right? Don't reply. But if you ever find yourself waking up in the bedroom and then realize how you got there, and you did that more than once, then there it is. Lyft drivers are no-nos. No lift. We want you to get AAA. We want you to get roadside assistance, and then you never have to worry. We got to get to a point where you have taken your experiences, digested them, swallowed them, and said, the next time I get into this situation, these are the things that we're going to talk about. Because only two things happen, lady. Either we stay there or we go ghost. Either we texting or we stop. Either we're calling or we not. Right? That's the power, not putting you on block on the social media site. The power is I've said what I needed to say, now can you handle it? Right? It's kind of like going shopping, ladies. When you ask the price and they tell you the price, there's only two things that you can do. Buy it or put it back. What else? The third? You can save up and come back and get it later. But you have to make that decision. Why not put all that out there so you two can make that decision? When you have healed, and you taking care of the I, then it's time to move to the we. But the we doesn't come before the I, or steal it. Boosting, you borrowed it with no intent to return. These are things that we got to get to. We have to have those conversations. We got to seriously have conversations around what have I learned about my past experiences, good or bad. Take the good with the bad. Understand these are the things that I like to do. They brought me happy. Oh yeah, borrow it. Yeah, gotta borrow it. Let me borrow it. Let me borrow a cup of sugar. How you gonna borrow a cup of sugar?
But it's in the taking of the good and the bad is where you learn the most valuable lessons. Sure. Because there are some things that you did that were good, right, things that you are willing to, take into the next relationship. Some things that you're willing to say, okay, that worked out. In that, you take the things that didn't work and you figure out, is it a reason that didn't work, or was it just that it didn't work with that person, or just this situation didn't work? So you have to take both. You have to take the good and the bad from the experience and figure out, how it applies to you, what role you played in the good and the bad, what responsibility did you have for the good and the bad. And in that, that's where your change should take place. Your change should take place because you looked at both sides of it and say, okay, maybe it was me. Maybe I need to work on this. Maybe I need to, I need to definitely get my eye together. I need to get my eye together before I move forward into the next situation, because these same things, like I said, if you don't fix it, the same thing is going to show up in the next situation. It may look a little different, but it's going to be the same thing. It's going to get you the same outcome. It's going to get you that exciting 2 weeks to 2 month period. It's going to get you that. It's going to get you that, because you mad and you bitter, and some people want to show them that you can, move on and be with somebody else, that you don't need them. F them, whatever, how we be acting sometimes. So you just move right along. But in the experiences, get the lesson from the experience. If that means being single, if that means sitting down somewhere by yourself, we know some people have an issue with being by themselves. They got to have somebody. That's a problem. If that experience, that past experience that you haven't learned the lesson from, sometimes you just need to sit down somewhere. Just go sit down. It's okay. It's okay. Single. I was single for 5 years prior to him. I was okay. I was like, I knew that I was tired. I knew that I needed to heal. I knew that there were some things that I needed to work on. There were some things that
I need to pamper myself.
Absolutely. And you deserve that. And in that time and space, figure out that there are some things that you deserve for yourself, not only to be in a relationship, but just to be okay with yourself. Because some people can't stand to look at themselves in the mirror. Some people should be sick and tired of themselves. But just to be okay with yourself, make sure your eye is together. Take that time for you. You deserve to pamper yourself. You deserve to do whatever it is that you want to do for your happiness, for your sanity, you deserve that. And if you have to do it by yourself, it's okay. I was fine. Wherever I wanted to go, I was okay with going by myself. If that meant dinner, movies, if that meant to another state, city, whatever that meant, I knew that I needed to get my eye together. I wasn't comfortable in the beginning. I wasn't comfortable with myself outside of somebody else because I had allowed somebody else to tell me who I was for so long. I didn't think for myself. I didn't make decisions for myself. I had given that power to somebody else. So I needed to get comfortable with myself. And there are some people that don't like themselves. And we wonder why they don't like you. They don't even like themselves. How can they like you? They put on a front, put on a face, put on a whatever. Like I said, and then they meet you that don't like yourself, and then they can get whatever it is that they want from you, and they feel accomplished because they they got what they wanted from you, but they don't even like themselves, so they go out looking for people that don't like themselves as well. So it's in that you have to be okay with yourself. Get your eye together. Let the past teach you about your eye, teach you yourself so that you won't be bitter, and in your bitterness you just keep moving forward. You keep moving forward instead of making yourself better. You keep moving forward with the bitterness. You haven't learned anything. And in this life, it's about learning things. It's about elevation. It's about moving forward. It's about progressing. It's about all of those things. It's not about sitting in the past. The past taught you, it should have taught you something.
Hence the word for term, misery loves company.
Absolutely loves company. Absolutely.
So I think as we talk about it, some things to take away from this session, I need to take time to learn from my experiences. That's what, back in the day, everybody say it with me. I need to take time to learn from my experiences. I need to be able to verbalize to my mate what I did not like or what I did like, or sometimes it may be both in a conversation. If you don't, that's where your investment comes. That's where your investment comes before the investment, right? If we're all going to complain about the money and time, invest the time to have that conversation, because that time is free. That time is free. You want to invest in building, right? Building blocks, the same ones we played with when we was 1, 2, and 3. Learn how to stack those blocks. And if it tumbles, it may not have been for you.
Or you need to work on the foundation.
The foundation is you and that other person. You can't control the other person. But who you can control and who you can work on is you. Ladies, time out. And men, because we do it too. It's time out for Build-A-Bears. There's people out there that are good at it. I'm not one of them. I don't have the patience. You can't build a man. It's kind of hard to build a woman. It's kind of hard to build a man. But can we work on the qualities? Can we work on how we treat each other? Can we work on how we conversate? Can we work on how we show affection? Can we work on all of those things? Having those conversations are free. And if you don't have those conversations, then something's wrong. This was so good. I'm changing direction. Joy is my foundation. It's always been your foundation, Lord. It's always been your foundation. Here's where you have to go. Be relations consciously make improvements.
Absolutely.
There it is. Until you get sick and tired of yourself, you'll never see change. Absolutely. We gotta get here. You don't.
He did tell me that. He really told me that, y'all.
You have a voice. You have a
He really did tell me that.
Don't be functionally dysfunctional.
Please don't be that.
That is the worst thing. Say it out loud. I need to take time to learn from my experience. Apply the lesson, then grow. This is stuff that makes this so easy. Having those pointers on the end of the show was awesome. That kind of lines it up for everybody, for the latecomers, or those who had children and got a little distracted. That was a great way to recap what we're trying to sow and grow. And again, this is just real talk. This is how we are every day. This is what we do every day. I think I got a coworker on this live or two. They can tell you, ask the question, is this dude like this every day? They will tell you, this is me every day.
This is us. That's how I was having a conversation with some people about, and I was like, these are our experiences. These are things that have, the stuff that we went through, the place that we are now, and how we maintain the way we are now. What you see is what you get. We have these conversations.
That's one of my coworkers. So, yep, that's him every
We
day.
have these conversations with each other when we're just sitting in the recliner talking, or we're in the car riding or whatever. It's the conversations that we have with each other. And that's why we wanted it to be real talk. It's that conversation, that moment, that space that will help you stabilize your foundation. And it's in that, like you said, to express all of the things that you feel, to express the things that you need.
So, for real, the state Tasha.
We'll be in South Carolina real soon.
Real soon.
Real soon.
We working on a live show coming from South Carolina.
We'll be there real soon. But it's us. It's just who we are. Like I said, we talk about the long distance of us in our first year, the struggle because of the dynamics of our bad relationship that we came out of. Like I've said over, guys that have been watching, they know mine was domestic violence. His was a failed marriage. So, it's coming out of the domestic violence situation for me and my journey after that, and then being married to him and us having the type of relationship that we have. Everybody everybody that knows us know K&J is K&J all the time. This is what you get from us. If you sit down and talk to us, you get our story, you get our experience, you get our truth as to how we are here. How we maintain being here is having conversations with each other. It was hard in the beginning. Like I said, the dynamic of what we came out of and our journey to coming out of that, and then for us to reconnect with each other after 13 years, there was a lot of conversation that had to be had because a lot of stuff happened in 13 years that neither one of us knew about went on in each other's life. So there was some stuff that we had to verbalize to each other. There was some conversations that we had to have because it's like, okay, now that we're here, if this is where we're going to be and if this is what we're going to do, then we need to know about some of those things. I don't need to know everything, but I need to know some things that are important to you. I need to know some things that work and some things that don't work with you and for you. There are some conversations that we need to have. And it's in that we took those past experiences and we talked about it. Like, okay, baby, I can't do this. I can't, I won't, I ain't. Okay, we got through that. It was that I can't, I ain't, and I won't, and this is why. So I told him, my story of what I had been through. And, like I said, you don't have to tell everything, but there are some things that you need to lay out that actually lay the foundation, that actually lay the foundation for the reason that I feel the way I feel, for the reason that I say the things that I say and I expect what I expect. There are some reasons behind that. But like I said, our dynamic coming out of what we came out of, we had to get some things straight with each other so that we could begin to build the foundation for what we wanted. It was like, okay, we've done this. We've decided that it's gonna be me and you. This is how we're gonna roll. But we had to have the conversation about that, and it's that in learning from that, and in wanting to move forward, we agreed to move forward, and we agreed that this is how we're gonna move forward. So in that, now the conversation is easy. We like best friends. Most people see us, they probably wouldn't think we were husband and wife. They probably think we're just best friends because we are. And some work went into making that happen. Some work went into making sure that that's how we are, is that we're best friends. So it's take those things. We've all been through something. We've been through something. Learn from that. And let that make you better. Like I said, the only difference between better and bitter is the I. Do the work on the I, and you'll definitely be better.
Amen. And amen again. It is what we do, y'all. You are worth the time and effort to make yourself better. At the end of the day, all of the jokes, all the J-lations, all the K-lations, you are worth the time to make yourself better.
Speak less.
Speak less and listen more. We might have to talk about that one in a whole subject. But we want to make sure that you know that what we do is authentic. This is nothing that we put on 7:30 to 8:30. This is who we are all day, every day. It's who I am at my job. It's who I am on the basketball court. It's who I am at meetings I go to. And you would be surprised to know the amount of people who kind of watch this show, but kind of never come all the way into the room. So, we love the half watchers. We would like for you to come on in and be a part of what we do, which is Real Talk with K and J every Wednesday, 6:30 to 7:30. 7:30 to 8:30, sometime at the 30. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. And please like, click, and share. Please share.
Turn notifications on.
We got some great reach in about the last week and a half, 2 weeks, and we like to continue that momentum. This show is always posted right after we get finished with the live. Please go to our Facebook page, Real Talk with K and J. Share the post, share it to your page. Sometimes I share it and I just say, something to think about. Because it makes you think, it makes you look back. And these shows are designed to make you reflect, but also to make you realize that you're worth the effort. You're worth the effort to get better. You're worth the effort to find love. You're worth the effort to have love. You're worth all of that. This has been Real Talk with K and J. I am Jay, aka the dog.
K, aka Cat.
And there's nothing you can do about it, but see us next Wednesday. Peace.